MyMac Podcast 856, Monterey Musings, Part 1.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's Mighty
MyMac Podcast.
Thank you, Steve. Well, do you know what, folks? The first public beta for the macOS Monterey is out, and so many people are talking about it. We thought we might too, because we're all about getting out the information to our wonderful listeners, and they demand it from us. Or we just like jumping on any old bandwagon that we can. There'll be more on this next week for the bits that we don't get to this time, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of bits that we don't get to this time. Guy.
Yes, there will be more bits. I basically decided I didn't want to have a 2.5 hour podcast to go along with the 2.5 hour presentation that they did for WWDC. So thought I would just shorten it up a little bit. Gaz, just make it timely, make it informative.
Timely and informative.
Yeah.
That's
and
not
informative.
Us. And
That's our stock in trade. That's our stock in trade.
That's our stock, but not in trade. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people seem to appreciate the. Never mind. I can't even.
Don't go there. Don't go.
No.
So what?
No.
What's been happening in your Mac world this week?
When I first started to think about that and put some stuff in, it was really, really hard because I don't really think that there was too much that did happen. And then I gave it even more thought and was like, okay, all right. There's lots of stuff happening. It's just not happening yet. but it's going to be soon. It's one of those soon things. So, I have a neighbor whose son works for a music store, and he got, he got me a great price on some JBL monitors that I was talking about last week, the 305 the 305 Mark IIs, because they're just wonderful. Unfortunately, because of the way my current office is set up, I don't really have any place to put them where I can actually use them. And while some people would have thought about that before buying them,
Not you.
Not me. That was not one of the thoughts that went through my head.
So what? See, this is my understanding of Guy's thought process. Oh, I like those. I want them, and they're a bargain. Gets them home. It's now going to cost me triple because I've got to reorganize everything and buy a new desk to just put them in place.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I was thinking about a new desk before all of this started.
Anyway,
but the other thing that I did now last week, I think it was last week, there was the Amazon Prime Day. And I looked through a lot of the stuff that they were, and again, it's like Black Friday around, in November, where it's all of this stuff that these distributors have that they have lots of that they haven't sold. So they're like, oh, well, we'll just put we'll jack the price up for 10 minutes and then put a slightly lower price on it and make people think they're getting a bargain.
Can I jump in there? We
Sure.
have a law against that in the UK where you have to have had the price, and I'm sure you've got laws like this in the US similar, where you have to have had that product on sale and out to the public for at least 6 months at that price before you can reduce it down to another price.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you believe that there are laws to protect consumers here in the United States.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that we do in the UK.
Okay, let's specify that. Anyway, one of the things that I did get, there were two things that I did buy though. I've wanted for a long time to do something with mesh to make the Wi-Fi in the house a little bit better. Because my wife uses it exclusively. So they had a good deal on the Oooor mesh network. It's a threesome. You've got like the base router, and then you've got two. It is a threesome. And then you had two little outboard ones to set up the mesh. So I got that. Haven't set it up yet. They're still in the box, but they will be coming out very, very soon. And the other thing that I got is now the way I've got my monitors set up here, I've got two 27-inch monitors. They're on VESA mounts, VESA mounts.
VESA, yeah.
And so I have a little bit of separation there, and then in between those two mounts, I have my camera. But the way I've had to set up my camera, it's like barely fitting, and all because the VESA mount that I currently have for the monitors doesn't let them spread out enough. So I saw something in Amazon for a better set of dual VESA mounts, and I got that, and it was relatively inexpensive.
Cool.
So that's the other thing that I'm going to be doing. But all of this is going to be contingent on yet another purchase, which is going to be a new desk, because my current setup, as I'm looking around, is just not good. And there's a lot of crap in this room that I need to get rid of, but I'm going to reorient things and spread things around and be able to use some of this stuff that I've already bought without thinking that I had the room.
Yeah, I think you need some shelves in the background as well. But
yeah.
Only YouTubers would see that. Only YouTubers would see that.
Yeah, so I mean, like right now, you see like all my graphic novels and some of the garbage that I've got behind me on the desk. Well, I want to shift it so that you see the other garbage that I have.
Yeah.
So that's important.
The desk that you're looking at, will it cope with two 27-inch monitors and a little gap between them with a camera in between?
Yeah, it's actually, it's because this desk that I currently have, it's an L desk. And the part that I use for live casting and all the rest of that is roughly about maybe 40 to 48 inches. I'm not sure exactly what the width is here. And the new desk will be in the neighborhood of almost 60. So I'll have a lot more room. It's got built-in racks for some of the gear that I have.
More rubbish on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if you've ever seen Chuck Joyner's desk from Mac Voices, that's in his background, it's going to look kind of like that, but worse. So, cool. That's how that's going to work. What have you done last week besides Wolf Wanderings?
Well, Wolf Wanderings as usual. Not quite as many, because I think I told you last week that I was doing a bit of work in fixing a gate. Mm-hmm. Well, I finished it off this week because it was stop start.
What, because of weather or
no? Well,
reasons?
a little bit of weather, but personal reasons on the families that I was putting in. So I'm not going to delve into that.
Right.
But I got paid this week. I actually got paid.
Nice.
Paid me in cash. That's very nice too. Yes, I am registering it for anybody who says, "Oh, yeah, not paying tax." Well, no, but I don't think I'll be earning enough money to pay any tax this year, folks. Yeah. To be honest with you. Anyway, yeah, so that was good. I started filling the holes in my floor, which I'm going to be sanding. I'm not sure whether I started that last week or not, but I definitely.
Well, you mentioned that you were going to do the floor.
So I've done 2 sweeps of that, as it were, ready for the sanding and the varnishing. Also bought the stuff ready. So
the sanding and the varnishing.
Sanding and the varnishing. Yes,
stopping and the shaving.
Stopping and the shaving. We
also that's a private joke, folks.
Yes, it is. When you say private,
well, it means we've told everybody about it, but we still think nobody knows.
Probably, yeah. We had a couple of barbecues this week, believe it or not.
Nice.
So, So I've used MyMac just a little this week. Just a little this week. Everything's set up. You see, I'm not changing anything because it's all neat and tidy. And I got my speakers in place. I got the shelving in place, and the table's new, and it's all clean desk. So
it's almost like you're saying that you're organized and I'm not.
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm saying. Do you know?
No, I know it sounds a lot like that, but it's
someone else.
Different.
Someone else would say,
"I do believe you are right."
Oh, you know what? I almost forgot to mention it. Tomorrow is the 4th of July. So everyone here in the US.
You're right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been such a weird week that these things just kind of sneak up on you after a while. So tomorrow is the 4th of July, celebrating America's independence from, I don't know, some other country. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
We helped so many countries become independent, Guy. It's incredible. Incredible. We're just, we're just the
givers.
The catalyst. The catalyst to independence. That is
East
the
Africa,
UK.
India.
Everywhere, pretty much everywhere. Yes. Yeah.
China.
Well, I wouldn't say China. Hong Kong. Or Hong Kong-ish. Let's keep off that.
Hong Kong more recently.
Yeah, for a short while.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, we the UK helping people become independent. Yes.
Whether they wanted to or not.
I think you wanted to be honest with you. I think you wanted to. Anyway, what mic are you using this week? Let's get off that subject.
Okay. Might be a little bit of a sore subject. This much. I'm still on the SM7B. And I'm probably going to be on this one for a while.
Oh, so this article can probably drop for a few weeks then. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, until I get around to getting everything all changed up here. I think I'm going to be putting my efforts more into figuring out the future setup.
Let's have some stability for a while, shall we?
Yeah, for me. There you go. Sure.
Yeah, there you go. Sure.
Stability.
Okay, I'm going to jump into the little history that we've been going on about with the Ordnance Survey. So last week we spoke. Go on.
I was just say that's what I actually asked you about this before we started the show this week.
The last week we spoke about the military use of the maps, but also the fact that the maps were starting to be used more widely. So to continue, we're still in between the years of 1801 and 1824 for people's year tick-off. Let's put it that way. Those early maps with their elaborate hill shading and attention to communication routes highlighted the emphasis given to military use. In time, this military face would soften, and the map design was developed to appeal to a much wider audience. Triangulation was used as an accurate framework to the internal mapping, which was beautifully intricate. Maps were made by first breaking down the great triangles into smaller ones. Surveyors then used several techniques to create...
Can I interrupt for just a second?
Go on.
That is, and to put it in more modern terms, that's how they make video games. Seriously, they take large graphics, break them down into literally smaller triangles so that they can be rendered on a computer screen.
We are so linkage. Surveyors then used several techniques to create intersect points to provide a framework for the map detail. Place names often proved difficult as locals could argue over what name was actually correct. And that still goes on today. River Nen, River Neen. It's Nen for anybody who was interested.
It's like Harvard and Harvard.
Eventually, will you let me finish?
Yes.
Eventually, a name book system was put in place. Variations of all proper names, such as rivers and hills, as well as towns, were recorded in a series of books. From this selection, the most authoritative was chosen for publication. The first map took 3 years to complete, and the surveyors worked to a scale of 2 inches to 1 mile. That was reduced to 1 inch to a mile when printed. Maps were engraved in reverse on copper plate, which was used for printing. Separate legends appeared for the symbols, and the maps were huge enough. Without them. Its launch was much anticipated, and the public could buy Ordnance Survey maps either from the Board of Ordnance headquarters in the Tower of London or from the Fort Faden, a map seller at Charing Cross, so mainly in London. The first maps were sold at 3 guineas. 3 guineas. That's about £3 and 3 shillings. £3.15 to anybody who know that in the UK. Per county survey, which was between 1 and 3 weeks' wages for the average person. It's quite a lot of money, isn't it, really? Part of their appeal was they offered a bird's eye view, as we mentioned last week, of the landscape. Until then, only the privilege of the very few in hot air balloonists could see. 4 years later, a map of Essex followed. Within 20 years, about a third of England and Wales had been mapped at the 1-inch scale under the direction of William Mudge, a new name to enter the fray.
Yeah.
It was thought that 50 years would be long enough to map the country, but the entire series of maps wasn't published until 1870. That's 70 years. So, yeah.
Okay.
And more next,
all things considered,
next week.
That's like not a bad time frame to be off. 20 years. And when you consider that most people back then rarely traveled farther than 5 miles from where they were born until the day they died, this was like something
a bit like Central America, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and
I mean North America,
parts of the South, South as well.
Yeah.
I was the unusual one in so many ways.
Anyway, I think we should jump over to Gaz's snippets. Now, this week's a bit different, folks, only because, not for your perspective, but for Guy's perspective, because This week's snippets, I didn't have time to put them in the show notes. So Guy doesn't have a clue what's coming, whereas when I pop them in the show notes...
Wait, I'm sorry, is this a difference of some kind?
Not the pressure.
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay, 14 years ago today, Guy, well, this was last week, of course, the iPhone changed the world. Now, there was a lot of podcasters talking about the fact that it's 14 years ago. And I just, if you think about that, just stop and think. The iPhone's been around for 14 years. In the terms of tech, very often, so much will have changed in 14 years. Massive amount. But the iPhone first launched 14 years ago. And I've got to say, it's probably changed a little bit because you couldn't do a great deal with the first iPhones, if I'm honest.
But the basic form factor hasn't really changed.
No, at all.
Just the home button.
Yep. They've got a bit bigger. And the home button. Yeah. that might come back electronically, of course. Now, Apple reportedly increases its spending on Google Cloud services by 50% year over year and exceeds 8 exabytes of storage.
Wow.
So as Apple moves more of its services into the cloud and more Apple users adopt iCloud for photo library file storage, the company's infrastructure requirements keep rising.
Well, I was under the impression that Apple was creating a bunch of large server farms to host all this themselves. I wasn't aware that they were spending so much money, not so much money, but allowing for so much space through Google's farms as compared to their own. I guess they just couldn't build them fast enough.
No, and they couldn't keep up with the service that was required, of course. Apple App Store is projected to generate about $41.5 billion in the first half of 2021. Apparently, that's nearly double Google's Play revenue.
That's not a big shocker.
Apparently, celebrities call for UK gadget tax, which would include Apple products. A number of high-profile British actors, artists, and authors are calling for a UK gadget tax of anywhere between 1% and 3% to fairly reward creators and performers making a living from their content.
All right.
They call it the smartphone. All right. Now, all I'm going to say is just be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Just be very, very careful what you wish for.
Here's content creators who get paid to create content wanting everyone else to pay extra for the devices that they use to see their content. So this is coming from the people that will be least affected by increase of price and geared toward people that will be most affected in the increase in price.
Well said. Well said. In-store pickup launches at Apple stores in mainland China. Now, you don't have to comment on each of these, Guy, remember.
Okay.
Regulating Apple's App Store is likely to have unintended consequences. With lawmakers are circling Apple, regulating the company's App Store likely to have unintended consequences, doing more harm than good. Here. That's what I can say.
It's really hard to keep my mouth shut for some
Okay,
of
we'll
these.
move on then. Apple are releasing released WatchOS 8, the public beta for Apple Watch users.
Real quick. If you decide to get that watch beta and your watch bricks, you're screwed.
Yes.
Your watch is screwed and it will never, ever operate again. So think about that very, very, very carefully.
I don't do betas, but people often hear and want to hear about the beta releases, so that's why I put them in here. But
most of them.
I know that you do betas. I know that you
sometimes.
do betas. But,
sometimes,
yeah, you kind of.
I haven't done Monterey yet, even though that's what we're going to talk about in the next section. Because I kind of got bit by a Big Sur beta. So
guess what? Guess what, Guy? Apple have also released iOS 15 public beta with SharePlay Focus and obviously lots more. Now, apparently, Apple are finally letting users download macOS Lion and macOS Mountain Lion for free. Those were released in 2011 and 2012. And it was a paid software download. You had to pay for it at $20.
I think those were like the last two operating systems that you had to pay the $129 for.
Well, no. Well, hang on a minute, and let me read this in total. Yeah, you might be right. So 10 years ago, users needed to pay $20 for the latest version of its OS 10. And then obviously you had to pay, and then you had to pay. I think you had to pay for it to download it up until very recently, and they've now made it free. Anyway, I don't want it, and I don't need it, and I'm not going to get it. So,
anyone with a Mac that old, save your money, get a new Mac. Yeah, do that.
Apple apparently have withdrawn from an antitrust lawsuit versus Fortress Investment Group. I'm not quite sure what that was going on about, to be honest with you. So Apple filed a notice of dismissal with the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California, leaving co-plaintiff Intel to go it alone against the parent company of a serial patent infringement suit filler, Unilock. The move comes about a year and a half after Apple and Intel filed a complaint against Fortress in 2019. According to sources, the decision to withdraw could suggest that a settlement was reached at some point.
I wonder if that's one of those patent holding groups. That's what it kind of sounds like.
Yeah, probably. Apple has extended partnership with Red to combat COVID-19 until December 30th. So last year, Apple announced that it would be directing 100% of eligible proceeds from product Red purchases to the Global Fund's COVID-19 response to provide critical support for health systems most threatened by the outbreak. So they've extended that until December 30th.
Okay, so more money for that charity then.
Yep.
Good.
We have got, I don't think I've put this later. No, I haven't. So there is now a British right to repair law that's come into force last week. But guess what, Guy? It excludes smartphones and computers. For you. Apple has released its first macOS Monterey public beta, which we are talking about later. Spotify releases a new beta app with native support for M1 Macs. Well, they're obviously wanting to stay on the Mac, even though they hate Apple. Apple are working to expand Apple Maps look-around feature to Austria soon. That'll be nice. Austria's a very beautiful country.
It is.
Apple are developing a hybrid retail flex work from home program for Apple Store employees. How that's going to work, I don't know. Right. Yeah. Is there any geniuses here? No, they're all working from home. Oh, where am I going to go? Well, it's about 50 miles that way.
The closest iMac to you will light up and there'll be a genius there. Oh, you want to talk to Steve? He's right. Oh, wait, no, he's not here either. Carolyn, no. Bob, no. There's actually no one here, so just pick up a product and
go.
Well, and go.
Apple has released Safari Technology Preview 127 with bug fixes and performance improvements. Yes, they're keeping on top of that Safari, aren't they? And so they should, because it's all about security, Guy.
It is.
Apple and Amazon are under investigation in Spain for possible anti-competitive practices. I'm not sure whether I said this last week, so I thought I'd leave it in because I couldn't remember. Apple
and Amazon. Okay.
Anti-competitive practices, Guy. I mean, they were only I don't think, actually, if you're only practicing something, that you should.
They haven't gone to the pro level yet. Call us when they do.
Yeah. When they're doing it properly, then we want to know about it. Apparently, Apple suppliers in India have been selected for incentives likely to be used for iPad production. There weren't actually. I was going to say it's a start, and I forgot to. There aren't so many snippets this week because it was quite a quiet week, all in all. Apple employees circulate an internal survey with hybrid return to work concerns. So it may not happen. So all those people that you mentioned before may not be coming back to work anyway. So.
I get the feeling that they will.
Apple supplier Broadcom have been hit with an illegal monopolization charge by the FTC. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has voted to charge Broadcom with an antitrust complaint today for illegally monopolizing markets for semiconductor or components. Specifically, the charge is related to Broadcom chips used in set-top boxes and broadband internet devices. Now, why
this is like
you're
an
asking?
Extension of what they've been doing for years.
Yeah. But why I brought that up was because you stupid people, all you did was, Broadcom. How can we get more clicks? Let's put Apple at the start of the link. Just incredible. That's,
And it's got nothing to do with them.
No, nothing at all. Apple supplier, Broadcom. Yeah, what? How much do they do with them now? So small. Just
and I'm sure there's absolutely zero other companies that Broadcom provides chips for.
Yeah, Guy, do you know what that's like? That's like believing the Earth is flat.
It's not?
It's not. No, I'm sorry. It's not. The EU competition chief has told Apple not to use privacy as a shield against competition. In an ongoing antitrust discussion about the App Store competition, Apple has maintained that allowing users to install apps outside the App Store would have dire privacy consequences. But European Union digital competition chief Margaret Vestager, I think that is, said today that Apple must not use privacy excuses to limit competition. I am going to say what I have been saying for some time now, and that is that I think that the person, company, or governing body is putting at risk my ability to be able to choose a secure, reliable environment that I have chosen. So, person, company, or governing body, if you want to play that silly game, I, along with, I'm sure, a lot of other people, will continue to call you nasty, horrible people for putting my security at jeopardy.
Yes. Also, there is one way around this for Apple. Basically, in iOS preferences, you put a little checkbox that lets people do it with a huge warning that comes up. The potential for violating your warranty, blah, 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 blah.
No, disagree. I disagree because
they may not have any choice. They may have to do something like that.
Well, so what they'll do is all of those people are then put in jeopardy of being tricked into pressing that button.
Into what? The button from Apple?
Because if you're trying to get into the system, all you then have to do is to trick the person into clicking that button to actually open up their phone. That's how scammers. That's how they do it.
Sure.
That's how they get into you. So no,
Okay.
I
And
really
that's,
don't think they should do that. I just repeat
at that point, it's entirely on the idiot that hit that checkbox.
Yeah, but that's then going away from what Apple's trying to do. You keep fighting, Apple. You keep fighting.
I completely agree, and they should. And I hope it never, ever, ever, ever happens. However, in order to continue to sell phones in some of these countries, Apple may be put into a position where they have no choice. It's either do that.
I think that the person,
the
company, or governing body is putting at risk liability. Yeah, totally.
I completely agree. But if Apple is given no choice in the matter, then that may be the only way that they can go forward.
I tell you, Apple, stop making phones. There you go. That'll do.
They won't. They won't. It's 75% of their business. They can't.
Guy, that was a joke.
Oh. I get jokes.
You get jokes. tvOS 15 has been introduces redesigned video player for Apple TV app. I saw lots and lots of links of how to get this as a beta on your Apple TV. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Just wait, folks. Just wait. Don't be so impatient. As they say, patience is a virtue, isn't it, Guy?
I'm sorry, what?
Apple execs discuss new developer tools, Swift Playgrounds and Xcode Cloud. So that could be new stuff coming very, very soon. That, folks, is the end of Gaz's snippets for this week. However, I do have a couple of Gaz's links. But before I do that, Guy may want to say something.
I will?
Well, you put your finger up.
Oh, no. Because you didn't play the music.
So right. Okay.
I was like, hold on the music there.
Gaz's links.
Okay.
You feel better now, don't you?
I do. I feel so much better.
The first one, Guy. This is a bit of Apple lists products that pose a risk to pacemakers. Have you seen this? Apple has listed products it says should be kept a safe distance away from medical devices like pacemakers and implanted defibrillators. The list includes iPhone 12 models, Apple Watch, and MacBook Pro. I mean, I always carry my MacBook Pro.
Yeah. Well, I've got this huge pocket right here on the front of my shirt.
Many consumer electronic devices contain components such as magnets, which can interfere with medical devices. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how this goes on. But
this should probably frighten everyone, but I actually used to work for a pacemaker company. However, in my defense, it was 40 years ago. Yes. So anything I worked on is probably not necessarily, possibly no longer in use. Maybe.
And someone's just going, how do I find out when a guy works on my pacemaker?
Oh, you'll find out.
The second item, Guy, I'm afraid, Apple, you have lost.
Missed the boat.
A flying car has completed a test flight between airports. A prototype flying car has completed a 35-minute flight between international airports in Nitra, Bratislava, Slovakia. Nitra and Bratislava in Slovakia. The hybrid air car is equipped with a BMW engine and runs on regular petrol pump fuel. Its creator, Professor Stefan Klein, said it could fly about 600 miles at a height of about 8,200 feet. Why did they do that? The article has got the fact that it could fly about 1,000 kilometer in brackets, the Imperial, and then it carries on in the sentence. It says at a height of 8,200 feet, and then the metric in brackets. The person needs slapping. Anyway,
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Gaz. You're talking about a flying car that is really, really ugly. This is one of
whoa. Slow down. First of all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay. Secondly, it flew, it drove. It drove away from the airport. So,
there's been ones like this before. The problem with almost all of these cars
there's no problem.
Is
I'm going to use it.
What do you do with the wings when you
have you watched the video of this?
Yes, I watched the video.
I think
they fold way up and then they go way back. But that means you basically have a two-seater car that's going to cost you probably
I didn't say that this was for everyone, but they have a flying car which works, and it works
until it's for everyone. It doesn't count.
Yeah. Oh, you're such a slime.
I want to see them at the bottom of boxes of cereal. That's what I want.
That's
probably not going to happen.
Gaz's links.
Cereal. See, now I'm hungry.
That's a big box of cereal.
Huge tracts of land were required. Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah. Can I have my box of cereal, please, with the car in the bottom? Yes, we'll just get the truck out now to deliver it.
No, I'll just fly it home. Ow!
I'm going to open the box of cereal in store.
Yeah. And you'll know when it happens because there'll be like just aisles and aisles of cereal all laid out on the floor from a shoplifter. Anyway. Everyone, please stand by. And Gaz and I will be right back to talk about an operating system that neither one of us are currently using. Welcome, everyone, back to the MyMac.com podcast. This is part one. No, not part one, but part two of this week's show. And we have a bunch of stuff to talk about. And before we go into this, Gaz reminded me during our break in between the segments, I had mentioned something to him, and he said to me that this is something that should probably be said right at the beginning of this section, and it has to do with downloading and using betas. You use beta software regardless of who it's from or how many people tell you how stable it is at your own risk. Sometimes, especially with things like watchOS, if it bricks your watch is now a $300 to $400 piece of unusable plastic and metal, because there is no coming back from using the watchOS beta and it not working properly. If it bricks, you're done. If you put it on your iPad or your iPhone or your Mac, and that is your primary device that you use for all of those things, make sure you have a complete usable backup that you can go back to in case things go horribly wrong. In fact, you're probably better off installing it on an external drive and booting from that drive if you really want to test out the new features. Don't put beta software on machines that you rely on every single day.
Unless you know what you're doing.
And so I hardly ever do that.
Know what you're doing.
Well, both. Yeah. Either one is fine.
The joke was the second. But.
Yeah. Now,
having said that,
there are some really cool features that are coming to macOS Monterey, and we're going to be going over probably the really bigger ones next week. But this week, I wanted to go over some of the things that most people will still use, but average users or people that basically just turn the computer on, do something, and then turn it back off again probably won't. But some of these I think are really cool. And the first one I wanted to talk about, Gaz, is Notes. And it's something that's been around for a really, really long time, but it's being more emphasized this time because of the sharing features that are being built into it. And again, nothing new, but there was a lot more attention paid on it because of the events of the last year and a half. So they want people to be able to share notes between, like you make a note and you share it with someone else, then they can go ahead and go in and edit it. They can do pretty much whatever they want to do to it. It's a lot like Apple's Pages, which Gaz and I use for our show notes.
Yep.
And with relatively few exceptions, Gaz, Pages has worked very, very well for the way that we use it.
Generally, it does. Generally,
Yes.
it does.
As compared to some of the other things that we tried that didn't. Now, basically, you can send a link to another person or make it available to a group for additions and editing, which is kind of cool as it is. And now, but the really cool bit is that you can see what other people are contributing with their edits and their additions by going to Activity View. And it will not only show those edits, it will also tell you who it was that made those edits. And the other kind of cool thing that's being put in here now is you can hashtag parts of your notes and very, very quickly go to them or group them together so that you can see them all in one area, which I think that is really, really kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now, there's another one that's kind of new. It's new to the Mac. It's called Quick Note. And this is a new feature that's being added that allows for a multitude of information to be put into an easily created framework generated by a keyboard shortcut or a hot corner of your screen. In this, you can have text, images, hyperlinks, maps, and other information that you just kind of drop in. And the fact that you can bring it up with just a keyboard shortcut or going to a hot corner means that it's almost always available to you. You don't have to go to the Finder or go to your dock or anything along those lines and try to pull it up from there. And like with notes, everything is synced to all of your devices via Google iCloud. Sorry, via iCloud. Gaz's snippets. Dun-dun-dun. Now, is this something that you think you'd be using, Gaz?
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely. And probably using it, not just with yourself, because I think we might snip over to Notes to test it out, but actually with the family as well. It's really, it's good. Mm-hmm. It's really good, especially the fact that you can, do images and hyperlinks. So you could almost have a running shared note which you want to share with people. So if people
your
think,
entire family,
so rather than having absolutely having a text group, you could probably just have a shared note where they could then pick those pieces up and then utilize them however they want. So definitely I'd be using it, definitely.
Now, one kind of cool thing about this is it's the privacy concerns. You can do all of these things that we were just talking about in Facebook and Instagram and through Google services and all of these other services and share all this information with your family and everyone else that's involved with those services, whether you want them to or not. The nice thing about this is it's all synced up via iCloud, which Apple does not monitor. And
but they're using Google servers, so they're checking.
Well, I'm sure it's encrypted.
Yeah, it is.
So you could actually almost kind of set up like a short-term social media site using Notes, and just have the people that you want to have access that information or those links or pictures or whatever. Just through a service like this, for better or for worse. So,
for richer or for poorer.
Yeah, whatever it is that you're going to share with people. We're not judging here.
I don't.
Yeah. All right. Shortcuts is the next one, Gaz. And one of the things that kind of set Apple's mobile offerings from the macOS was an app called Shortcuts. Mm-hmm. This was kind of a simplified version of Automator, which in turn was a simpler version of AppleScript. Now, this allows you to create custom purpose, basically applications to do simple repetitive tasks without having to go through each step manually. These can also go cross-platform to Apple's, I can't even speak right now, to Apple's other operating systems, and you can take previously created Automator scripts, and these can be converted into shortcuts. And some of the examples that were shown, and I haven't had a chance to play with this, was text to voice, which I would find very useful.
Can I just say, the reason you haven't had a chance to play with it is because you've not installed the beta.
No, I have not. Not yet. Not yet.
So what do you think about this then? Why?
I have played around some with Automator, and in years past also played around some with AppleScript.
There's quite a lot of concern that Automator will, some of the shortcuts here and this process will lose the power that Automator gives. And not so much that, because obviously Automator in itself isn't as powerful as you said, AppleScript. Right. However, AppleScript is much more code centric, whereas Automator is much more GUI centric to be able to help you, go through and create, processes and automating processes. And I think that shortcuts seems to have got people's attention on the iOS platform.
Right. There was no other way to do shortcuts.
No, well,
in iOS and iPad OS.
So I think what they're thinking is that they can bring this across, obviously, to the Mac, but as long as, and they have said that it's going to be a long transition, but as long as that transition means that it will take as much, if not more, of the Automator power, then all well and good. The fact that they're integrating it was always going to happen, because you don't want the thing is here is because you've got the systems which are so integrated, people will want those shortcuts to be able to work on their Mac, and if they Automator then can't run those shortcuts, then what's the best way to go is to make sure that shortcuts has the power of Automator and then can run any shortcut scripts that it gets from the iOS world. So it makes sense as long as they don't, they don't buckle and lose the power that Automator has, which is what a lot of people were quite concerned with, I think.
Well, remember, Automator isn't going away. It's still going to be around for at least Monterey.
Yes.
Now, what happens in the future is anyone's guess. But I think that by the time we get to macOS 13 or 12.1 or whatever they're going to call the next version, I'm guessing 13, they will have probably all of the power of Automator built into shortcuts, or at least all that matters to 95% of the people, which is Apple's typical MO. They're like, well, because of this concern or that concern, we can't go 100% and say that this is going to be, 100% compatible with what you were doing before, but we'll get there 95% of the way. Yep. And people either, throw up their hands and have hissy fits on the internet, or they'll turn around and find other ways to do the same thing that they were doing before.
I think the shortcuts will be a much better process for people to prove that the Earth is flat.
as long as they can find proof, that's the important bit.
Yeah, well, that's where they struggle. But
right. So again, some of the examples: text to voice, some map stuff, split screen for 2 apps, reminders, and specialized timed events. Mm-hmm. But really, the use case is only limited by your imagination. Now,
so it's pretty limited then
for some people. Yeah. Possibly me.
I'm saying
AirPlay to Mac. This allows you to quickly send content from one device to another, like music, video, presentations, and so on. You can use these other devices as auxiliary speakers, or even to extend your own desktop, and it works both wired and wirelessly.
This is going to be a big use, I think.
Yes. So it's kind of similar. I mean, they were talking about this in such a way that you can share a movie experience with people that live in like a completely different area than you are, and I'm still puzzled how they're working out the permissions for that, because I'm guessing that there's going to be a lot of companies that make content that are going to be like, yeah, well, those other people in that other state should also be paying for it. But one of the cool things about this that I didn't realize until I started doing some research for this section of the show was that whoever initiates it has complete control. So they can stop it, they can pause it, they can do whatever it is that they want to do, and it'll also do the same on the person who's also watching it. Maybe that's part of how they're getting around it.
So the person who's watching it then has to put their hand up and say, "Please, Mr. Sir, can I go to the toilet? Can you pause it, please?
Can you pause it, please? I've got to microwave some popcorn." Popcorn.
So what sort of accent was that, Guy?
I don't have any idea.
No,
it's an accent from a land that does not exist.
Correct.
Right. So next up, universal control. And this kind of adds into the AirPlay concept. Select it to work continuously in your universal control settings. This is going to be in system preferences, and it's supposed to just be on whenever you need it. So you can use a single keyboard or mouse, and the icon will shift. Like, for example, if you were going from your Mac's mouse to an iPad, the icon will shift from the little pointer to the round cursor that the iPad OS uses, which I think is kind of cool. Yeah. Next up is notifications. Now I don't know about you guys, but I have kind of a love-hate relationship.
Agreed.
With notifications. Notifications, a lot of times when I first start up my Mac and I see that I've got 25 instances of it saying, well, this hard drive went down. Oh, it's back up. No, it's back up. Oh, it's down. No, it's back up. And for some notifications, you can do an all dismiss. You cannot with those kinds of notifications. So there was lots of buzzwords that were tossed around during the presentation at WWDC about the wonderfulness of notifications. But I think the most important bit will be, how do I make it stop when it's annoying me? Well, with muting suggestions for
with
when
a
you
look.
Want to,
you just have to give it a look.
An evil, angry look.
Yes.
Oh.
Ow.
So you can have some muting suggestions for when to make them go away, with muting options and timed notifications for things that you may find important enough to jump through the muted settings. Notifications might become more useful than triggering rage, which it currently does for me. Now, on that same note, this is the last bit that we're going to talk about this week, and it's focus. And have you ever wanted to tell the world to go take a flying leap at itself when you're doing something important or what you consider to be important? Focus allows you to do just that.
Yeah. I was focused. I was focused enough to turn everything off, though, if I needed to be concentrating on something. So,
well, this will let you do it at the stroke of a pen. Well, maybe not a pen.
An Apple Pencil.
Yeah. Well, you could use you could. Well, damn, I just forgot what it's called. You can use shortcuts to turn those notifications on and off. So it will let you do just that, and will also inform other people if they're trying to send you a message when it's engaged, so that they know you're not ignoring them accidentally, Gaz, but on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, it's not that I don't love you, but go
Shut
away.
Up. Yeah.
Shut up.
It's not I don't love you.
Exactly. And if they're paying attention as time goes on, your status can be shown to change when you decide to turn it off.
Hey, that's a swell idea, and it just might work.
It just might. So those are the 6 things that's coming up in macOS Monterey. So that's notes and, by extension, quick notes, shortcuts, AirPlay to Mac, universal control, notifications, and focus. Now, next week, we're going to do these, and these are the bits that I think most people are going to find very interesting, is FaceTime, Messages, iCloud Plus, and Safari, plus whatever else happens to pop into my head.
Excellent.
Oh,
Excellent.
Yes, it is. And you're doing something that means I should be hitting this right now.
Hit it. Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Squeaky chair.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
Old man dance.
Okay, so these are all Finder control keyboard shortcuts. Control Command T, add the selected item to the sidebar.
Use carefully,
Yes, use carefully.
or you'll have a
Very true.
sidebar that extends past the length of your monitor.
Yes. Don't select all and then Control Command T. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad
Select
idea.
all. Select
Just like
all on
this.
my Mac. Yes, select all on my Mac. Control Command T. Gaz said.
I have 250,000 items in my sidebar.
Yeah, I think your system might crash. So
Probably.
don't do that. Just select one item that you want and then Control Command T. Option one. Option Command. Well, no, you can do more than one, but I be careful. Option Command P will hide or show the path bar in the Finder windows, which I use quite a bit.
I
Option
use that all the
Command
time.
S, hide or show the sidebar in Finder windows. So that's the path bar or the sidebar. Command slash, that's the leany thing. The slash, the leany thing.
Leany thing. I like it.
Hide or show the status bar in Finder windows. And Command J shows the view options on or off. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keyboard quick tips for Finder. And the first one, use with care.
Very much with care. And we're nodding our head at that.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's
Mostly.
the end of Gaz's tips.
that too soon?
That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Guys, you are absolutely right.
There we go. I still haven't put all those together. I just do things.
Yeah.
Gaz, you've got a point.
Exactly. I actually have a for pick's sake this
Oh,
week, Gaz.
good. I
Sort of.
I tend not to do too many pick sakes, but there you go.
Well, it's one that when it first came out, I never thought I would really end up using that much. And
Wow.
I'm finding that I'm using it more and more, and that's Apple's News app. I kind of like it as a content aggregator. It's easy to get to. It's easy to set up the various things that interest me, and I can just quickly go through it and see the stuff that I want to see. I like it. So that's Apple's News app. Now, you don't have to have a subscription to Apple services to use the News app, but if you do, it's much more useful because there's a lot more content that's included.
Okay.
Newspapers, magazines, things like that.
So, let me just ask a quick question because I don't know whether you're going to be able to answer this or not. But does Apple One include that subscription?
Yes.
So which versions? Do you have to buy the full £30 or
That's
So-
I'm not sure about that. But
You
I
do,
think it's
you do,
included on
you do.
all of them.
no? It's
Oh, you
not.
do?
It's only included in the Premier one. So the individual and the family one does not include the News Plus, but the Premier one includes the extra News Plus and Fitness Plus options.
Yeah, Fitness Plus is the next one I'm going to get into.
And talking about that, actually, which we didn't say at the start. Yeah, right.
Yeah, sure
Yeah,
I am.
I ignored that because
Okay.
I am going to jump in and go for Apple One because currently I think there's enough currently on Apple TV for me to want to stick with it. So I'm going to stick with that. And then I get the extra 200 gigabytes of iCloud storage. So I'm actually going into the subscription service and I've gone for the family one because not obviously, but we do share a lot of the stuff. So we're sticking with the Apple TV because at the moment I get the music. So for an extra bit now, I've got Arcade again, which I've started using some of the arcade games because I stopped paying for it. I went through the free demo. Didn't think there was enough in there, but now, funnily enough, there's a number of games in there which I've recommended in the past and had as picks, which are now in Arcade One.
Yeah,
or in
Grindstone.
Arcade,
I
rather.
still play Grindstone.
Yeah. Yeah, I went in there and tried it again, but I've completed it. So,
Yeah, so have I, at least twice now.
Anyway, there's lots of other games in there. And I want to start looking at games on the Apple TV because I've got the controller. So I want to start looking at some racing games and stuff on the Apple TV. And, I've got arcade. Great.
Yep.
So cool.
Now, we have no email feedback. We have no Twitter feedback. However, we do have some audio feedback this week.
Lovely.
And the first one, and the weird thing when I listened to this, I had this odd sense of deja vu.
Go on.
But I'm going to play it anyway. Yeah, Vujade, that incredible feeling that I haven't listened to an audio message before.
Right.
And this one is from Marcus.
Well, hey, this is Marcus from Minnesota.
Hi, Marcus.
It's been a while since I've called in, so I just wanted to say hello and then goodbye.
Oh,
well, that was all Marcus had to say. Thank you, Marcus. Oh, and we got a second one from Marcus.
Can I just say?
This is Marcus from Minnesota. It's been a while since I've called in, so I just wanted to say hello and then goodbye.
Yeah. There was a third one, but
it was much along the lines of the first two, was it? Yeah,
it kind of was. However,
cheers, Marcus. Thanks.
Yeah, call in again and tell us that it's been a while since you've called, and then hello and
if anybody
goodbye.
didn't spot, we kind of played that before.
Yeah, it's actually marked 8:32, so it was a while ago. So it was that would be deja vu.
It is deja vu,
Yeah, except we were actually aware of it. So I don't know if that quite counts. But we do not actually have. Probably no, not, I don't think it would. It's just us goofing. We do have an actual brand new audio message that we received last week.
Okay,
and here it is.
Well, hey, this is Marcus from Minnesota. It's been a...
No, I'm kidding. That wasn't it. It's from our good buddy Greg from NC.
Hey, Guy. Hey, Jazz. It's Greg from North Carolina.
Hi, Greg.
You mentioned a news item about someone accidentally swallowing an iPod. Not an iPod. An AirPod.
AirPod, yes.
And I had heard, I don't know if it was that exact same incident, but I heard about one where someone had fallen asleep with the AirPod in their ear. Mm-hmm. It fell out. They somehow, in the bed, ended up swallowing it. And they knew that it still worked, but it did not, let's say, complete the entire process. It had become lodged in their throat, and I believe a doctor removed it with a very long pair of forceps, like tweezers. And so that was how they figured out that it still worked. It did not, as they say, come out the other end. But that's not like that little bit of clarification. Y'all have a great show. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Number one, thank you for calling in. We really, really do appreciate it. Number two, he said facetiously. Number two, get it?
Very good.
Any AirPod...
I missed that one over my head. That one did.
Any AirPod that actually completes the journey, I don't want to have anything to do with.
Well, I think that person should send in their email because they'd get a wooty for that.
They would definitely get a wooty.
That's a wooty completion.
Off and reusing an AirPod that completed the journey.
Yeah,
I know. If you would like to support quality content just like that, just like that, all you have to do is go to my Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot. You can go to coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot. There we go. Okay. And the last one, you can pay a pal at paypal.me/MacParrot. So those are the three ways that you can help support quality programming just like that. Gaz, if people wanted to get a hold of you and say, why won't you swallow AirPods and have it complete the journey, how would they do so?
Send an email to gaz@mymac.com. That's gaz@mymac.com. You can also send a Twitter on the Twitties to me at...
Careful how you say that.
Twitter.com/Gaz. That's GAZMAZ. You can also tweet both Guy and Gaz on the Twitters. Twitter.com/Guy and Gaz. GUYANDGAZ.
Cars.
You can also send an email to feedback@mymac.com. That's FWDBACK at mymac.com. Now.
No fooling.
No fooling. No, we mustn't fool about, must we?
Guy was paid his 75 grand. So.
No fooling.
Ah, right, okay.
We know it was a guy?
We do.
No fooling.
I like to go with
Checking.
guy.
No fooling.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I screwed up.
No fooling.
Many times.
Guy says...
No fooling.
You're just going to get them all out there.
No fooling.
Who's the guy?
No fooling.
Guy?
No fooling.
You remember Guy?
No fooling.
Guy's the one.
No fooling. His name was Guy.
If they want.
Oh, that's where you're going to draw the line. That's where the line is drawn. Okay, got it. Thumbs up.
So, if they want.
An email from Guy.
No fooling.
Now, come on, Guy.
No fooling.
No, I'm good. All you'd have to do, you'd have to send that email. Hold on. I can't even speak. My eyes are burning. Send that email to guy@mymac.com. Waiting for it.
No fooling.
There you go. You can also contact me on the Twitters by going and sending that to either MacParrot or VertShark.
No fooling.
Nope, gotta stop. And let's see. There's also VertShark over on the YouTubes for all the videos. There is vertshark.com where all of the audios and videos eventually make their way to La La Land. And Gaz, as both Marcus from show 832 and Greg from North Carolina know, we have a Skype number. We do.
No fooling.
No fooling. This is not a joke. I mean, we're laughing, but it's not a joke. We actually do. That number, Gaz, is 1 or plus 1 outside of the United States. 1 or plus 1. 703-436-9501. I just blew that whole bit. Now I'm going to keep going. 1 or plus 1, area code 703-436-9501. Or if you want to just use the Skype application, you don't need the 1 or plus 1, then it's just 703-436-9501. Yeah. So we're near the end of the show somehow, Gaz. I don't know how that happened. Somehow. And we would like to say thank you to everyone who downloads and or listens to the mymac.com podcast. It is greatly appreciated. And Gaz, I think usually that we're good enough. I think that we're smart enough, and that Wilf, people like us.
I have to be so careful here. Is E and Rud is Diriana Nai can't fio chorus Oribica chain Nuagan EA beneath Sutalite Nadari. And I'm not gonna try and do it with an accent, because if I'd done that, that would have been very, very bad. Guy,
naughty. Yes.
What do you give a cannibal that turns up late for your dinner party? The cold shoulder.
I was going to say leftovers.
Cold shoulder. See, I'm going to give you one more. Give you one more.
All right, a bonus Gaz's dad joke.
Yeah. Well, it's more of a conundrum for you.
Mm.
What word has 5 letters but becomes shorter when you add 2 more? Short. And that'll do it. End.
So you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on home and go home.